Welcome, kind listener. My name is Gentle Fox. You may not know me now, but by the end of this masterpiece, you will, and I trust you'll think of me as an old friend. What you'll be hearing tonight is an excerpt from our Twitch stream. I hope you'll enjoy that extra ambiance and my soft-spoken voice as we explore Leo Tolstoy's classic, Anna Karenina. Chapter 27. The house was big, old, and Levine, though he lived alone, heated and occupied all of it. He knew that this was foolish, knew that it was even wrong and contrary to his new plans, but this house was a whole world for Levine. It was the world in which his father and mother had lived and died. They had lived a life which for Levine seemed the ideal of all perfection, and which he dreamed of renewing with his wife, with his family. Levine barely remembered his mother. His notion of her was a sacred memory, and his future wife would have to be in his imagination the repetition of that lovely, sacred ideal of a woman which his mother was for him. He was not only unable to picture to himself the love of a woman without marriage, but he first pictured the family to himself, and only then the woman who would give him that family. His notion of marriage was therefore not like the notion of the majority of his acquaintances, for whom it was one of the many general concerns of life. For Levine it was the chief concern of life on which all happiness depended, and now he had to renounce it. When he went into the small drawing-room where he always had tea, and settled into his armchair with a book, and Agafya Mikhailovna brought his tea, and with her usual "I'll sit down too, dear," took a chair by the window, he felt that, strange as it was, he had not parted with his dreams, and could not live without them. With her or with someone else, but they would come true. He read the book, thought about what he had read, paused to listen to Agafya Mikhailovna, who chattered tirelessly, and along with that various pictures of farm work and future family life arose disconnectedly in his imagination. He felt that something in the depths of his soul was being established, adjusted, and settled. He listened to Agafya Mikhailovna's talk of how Prokhor had forgotten God, and with the money Levine had given him to buy a horse, was drinking incessantly and had beaten his wife almost to death. He listened, read the book, and remembered the whole course of his thoughts, revoked by reading. This was a book by Tyndall on heat. He remembered his disapproval of Tyndall for his self-satisfaction over the cleverness of his experiments, and for his lack of a philosophical outlook. And suddenly a joyful thought would surface. In 2 years, I'll have 2 Frisian cows in my herd. Pava herself may still be alive, 12 young daughters from Berkut, plus these 3 to show off. Wonderful. He picked up his book again. Well, all right. Electricity and heat are the same, but is it possible to solve a problem by substituting one quantity for another in an equation? No? Well, what then? The connection between all the forces of nature is felt instinctively, as it is. It'll be especially nice when Papa's daughter is already a sporting red cow, and the whole herd with these 3 thrown in. Splendid. To go out with my wife and guests to meet the herd. My wife will say, "Kostya and I tended this calf like a child. How can it interest you so?" A guest will say, "Everything that interests him interests me." But who is she? And he remembered what happened in Moscow. Well, what to do? I'm not to blame. But now everything will take a new course. It's nonsense that life won't allow it, that the past won't allow it. I must fight to live a better life, much better. He raised his head and pondered. Old Laska, who had not yet quite digested the joy of his arrival and had gone to run around the yard and bark, came back wagging her tail, bringing with her the smell of outdoors, went over to him and thrust her head under his hands, masking pitiful little whines and demanding to be patted. "She all but speaks," said Agafya Mikhailovna. "Just a dog, but she understands that her master's come back, and is feeling sad." "Why sad?" "Don't I see it, dear? I ought to know my gentry by now. I grew up among gentry from early on. Never mind, dear. As long as you've got your health and a clear conscience." Levin looked at her intently, surprised that she understood his thoughts. "Well, should I bring more tea?" she said, and taking the cup, she went out. Laska kept thrusting her head under his hand. He patted her, and she curled up just at his feet, placing her head on a stretched-out hind leg, and as a sign that all was well and good now, she opened her mouth slightly, smacked her sticky lips, and settling them better around her old teeth, lapsed into blissful peace. Levin watched these last movements attentively. "I'm just the same," he said to himself. "Just the same. Never mind, all is well."